Today, World Consumer Rights Day was observed in Dominica along with the rest of the world under the theme Building a Digital World Consumers Can Trust. The Ministry of Trade, Energy and Employment, in partnership with the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, stood in solidarity with the rest of the world. A number of activities marked the day, including discussions via radio stations and panel discussions to broaden the scope of consumer rights. Director of Trade Mathan Walter stated that during a radio program online, child protection was one of the featured topics in observance of WCRD.
We spoke to the issue of child protection, online child protection, and we spoke to cyberbullying. We also spoke to pornographic content, and we also spoke to the right, for example, of a parent to information about the digital service being provided, so that the parent, if they do not feel secure, safe, or fully protected, that because of that information, they can be able to make an informed choice. We also spoke to general rights that should be enjoyed and demands that should be made by consumers of digital providers for the purpose of ensuring that there is safety, there is privacy in relation to information, there is speedy resolution of grievances, there is an avenue to be able to report faults. All those particular issues have to be engaged so that consumers can truly enjoy the rights that were actually coined since in 1985.
Walter informed that a number of activities dating back to 2014 and beyond have already begun to establish a robust consumer protection framework.
The activities were a long time coming. We had activities stemming since 2014, where we had invited the CSME unit in Barbados to come to Dominica to meet with both private and public sector stakeholders to speak to the law and policy as it relates to consumer protection. However, we began a consultation, a project with the assistance finances from the CDB, but stemming from the European Union, for the sole purpose of creating what we call a robust consumer protection framework within the Commonwealth of Dominica. Part and parcel of that project is a communication strategy which would guide us as it relates to how we impart information, to which stakeholders that information had to be imparted to, as we move into the future and as we move towards the implementation and enactment of a consumer protection bill and beyond. Part of that was to engage awareness in different ways to different persons, and I put it in quotation marks, within the general public. And this particular strategy had to be sensitive to the indigenous people, sensitive to women, sensitive to gender, for example, and also children, adults. So it was a communication strategy that went across the board.
Walter noted that this day comes as a forerunner to the culmination of a project at the end of March being conducted by the Ministry of Trade. The conclusion of this project will mean an ushering in of a new era of consumer protection in Dominica, with legislation that ensures that consumer rights are fully protected.
For a very long time, we were tweaking and amending and trying to transform, and I put transform in quotation mark, a harmonized consumer protection bill in a manner that takes on board Dominica's unique circumstances. We have to do that. Because the bill, although harmonized, although it's supposed to be harmonized across the region, will not be identical it may be similar in content but not identical because of economic disparities, population size. There are many things that have to be taken into consideration as we deal with each individual member state within the context of the CARICOM construct. We have come a long way in that right now we have drafting instructions. We have engaged the assistance of a consultant, Mr. Carl Buick, and he has come to Dominica on more than one occasion. He has spoken to stakeholders. He has gone through the Consumer Protection Bill. We have had meetings with the Ministry of Justice, and we are now in the process of the final leg, at least to submit to Cabinet, to simply just get the Ministry of Justice then to be guided by the drafting instructions of the consultant and to put in place a final draft of the bill that can be tabled to Cabinet. By all estimates, we want to do that by May of 2017. We, however, cannot preempt what happens from that. Whether cannot preempt the decision of Cabinet, we cannot preempt the decision, the parliamentary timetable. But from a Division of Trade standpoint, we are going to bring Cabinet up to date with that. I know they are aware of the movements that have been taking place in that regard.
WCRD marks the date in 1962 when President John F. Kennedy first outlined the definition of consumer rights. It presents an opportunity to promote the basic rights of all consumers, for demanding that those rights are respected and protected, and for protesting the market abuses and social injustices which undermine them. And WCRD was first observed on March 15th of 1983 and has since become an important occasion for mobilizing citizen action.